All right, I am Ryan. I have Ben Manship with me. He is a partner with us on KHB Vinyl and Hardwood Flooring. Today, we're going to talk about if you are building a new home or doing a full home renovation, what flooring should you use? Why should you use it? Where should you put it? All the nuances of performance of flooring, types of flooring, all that good stuff.
Great, because that's I'm glad that you brought that up. That's one of the biggest values that you're going to get purchasing or using KHB flooring. And why is that? Well, it's because that's the biggest question that you need to answer before you select flooring, and it's an ambiguous, unknown question mark depending on where you go.
Yeah,
right?
Well, everyone's gonna have somewhat of a different answer.
They can,
and I think our answer for it is going to be more performance based.
Yeah,
right. We don't want a laminate in a bathroom type of situation. We don't want maybe a hardwood floor where you're going to be having pet traffic and it's going to get scratched. Like there's endless examples that we could talk about.
There really is.
Performance. I want to mostly talk about LVP to start off with, because that is kind of the hot thing, and it has been for a little bit.
Yeah.
Hopefully California doesn't outlaw LVP flooring if you're listening to us.
Yeah. Hopefully
what is it? The EPA or whatever?
Yeah.
Environmental Protection Agency.
They say that. They say that they're having a hard time recycling it. So. Yeah, they want to eliminate.
I heard electric car batteries are hard to recycle too.
Yeah, I'm sure that Tesla will stop producing those cars soon.
Jeez. All right. So LVP, a wide array of price points, all the way from like $1.99 all the way up to $8+ a square foot for some of the good stuff. What are you putting in? I know we use SPC as one of our main vendors. Give us the kind of the performance quality on those price points, and then where we should be installing that flooring.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different types of waterproof plank. Why is waterproof plank the right floor? Well, it's because you can't really go wrong with a waterproof plank, no matter what life traffic that you have going on in your home. Yeah, it can handle swimming pools. It can handle bathrooms.
Both a slab or a raised foundation. Yeah, it's a pretty versatile.
It's floor. Irrelevant. Yeah. A floating floor can go over either one of those subfloors. There is a difference in floor leveling. Raised wood foundations seem to not be as pricey, just due to the fact that you're sanding. If you have a high spot in wood, then you're sanding it down, and versus concrete, you're grinding it down, and that concrete grinding process is much more involved
and dirty
and dirty
and loud and messy. And
we prepare people the best we can for this is a construction project inside your home. We set that expectation level early. But as far as whether it's going to cost more or less if you're over wood or concrete and it's a floating floor, it doesn't matter. The only time that does matter is if you're doing a glue down LVP floor. So a glue direct product needs to have a super smooth surface, or it's
you're going to see everything in there.
It's possible, yeah. But some glue down LVP planks are as thick as a floating floor. The really nice ones, but not a lot of people like them because they have the impression, it's a false impression, but they have the impression that it's a cheaper floor because there's no locking mechanism.
Yeah, and I mean, kind of like in my mind, right? I think of a glue down LVP. I'm thinking commercial. Like every time my head just goes straight to, shopping mall or warehouse.
Right. You're not alone either. A lot of people, their heads go that way. And some people's heads go that way so hardcore that that's the way that they think, even though that it's not true. But it's easy to feel that way when you see less product in the plank, or it's thinner in some way. But if you're going over a concrete foundation and you glue your LVP down, what's the difference between gluing down an LVP that the brain associates with commercial and gluing down an engineered wood floor that the brain associates with residential?
Yeah.
Right? So, and there's an advantage of glue down. Like some people don't like the sound of a floating floor, even though the industry has made leaps and bounds on how that floor sounds when you walk on it. Yeah. When Pergo first was the first originator of laminate flooring,
which is in my home, by the way. And we're going to be tearing that out.
Oh,
shortly.
Ryan. Maybe I need to find a different partner for this podcast. Yeah. So one of the things we see the most, though, and the industry has seen from the laminates from when they first came out, is them falling apart because of what you could be cleaning it with the wrong thing and that floor will fall apart.
I mean, that wear layer just starts peeling back, you know?
And it's really not the wear, it's the core. So the floor absorbs the moisture through the joints, and then it expands the core. And then
which is essentially like particle board.
Which is essentially, it's a hard pressed particle board in the core of that laminate. So the reason why LVP came out in the first place, Cortec was the original person that came out with luxury vinyl plank. And over the years, when we go to industry store shows where they release new products, we started seeing the laminate section shrink more and more, and the LVP section grow more and more.
Well, it solved the big problem.
It did
for consumers and for contractors.
Yeah, when I became a licensed NALFA inspector, which is the North American Laminate Flooring Association, they said that the number one reason and cause of failed floors, laminate floors, floating floors, wood floors, was moisture and water. So by going to an LVP, they eliminated that potential. But there's a caveat to that now, Ryan.
Tell me.
Waterproof plank isn't moisture proof. Does that sound like it makes sense to you rationally?
Well, I can see that on a slab foundation. It might have some moisture issues.
Yeah.
But tell me more.
Yeah. So waterproof.
You're the professional in this.
Yeah, waterproof plank. We recommend putting it in, and you can take a plank of LVP and submerge it in a bucket if you had a bucket that was long enough to hold an LVP
4 foot
plank,
plus
right?
bucket. Yeah.
long, narrow bazooka bucket. You could pull that plank out, let it dry, and install it, and it's going to be fine. But the moisture that emits out of concrete, and you're in general contractor, so of course
I have to know a little bit about everything.
yeah. But Joe consumer, he's like, well, it sounds like double talk. You know, I'm buying a waterproof floor, but it's not moisture proof. Well, the explanation makes perfect sense, but it's not the first thing that you would think of that makes sense.
Well, here's another one. And I've talked to touch feet. I've talked to multiple contractors, and this is something I don't have an absolute answer on, but using, instead of like a moisture barrier, doing like an epoxy to seal that slab, or doing like a red guard application.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? A little bit more labor intensive, but are there any benefits to doing like an epoxy, basically underlayment?
Absolutely.
Okay.
The best way to protect your LVP is by doing a moisture barrier over concrete. That's a roll-on epoxy-based moisture barrier.
Awesome. So not just floating PVC sheets, actual bonding to the slab with an epoxy or some sort of waterproofing.
Yeah. What we do over concrete on good and better jobs is we put down a vapor barrier plastic underneath the floor so that moisture isn't allowed to come through that plastic and warp the planks of the LVP and cause them to come apart. It does a really good job. It has a low price point. However, if your slab is emitting a high amount of moisture, the danger that you could potentially have with that is that moisture that comes and emits out of that slab is going to be trapped underneath that vapor barrier plastic and could cause discoloration and different things that we know happen whenever moisture is trapped.
Yeah.
And so when you do a roll-on moisture membrane, it eliminates that. You get the same protection from the moisture from the floor without any potential of future.
And I could kind of see that being like a future-proof option too. Like, let's say I had a rental property, right? And I have to change that floor out. I'm going with the cheap LVP because I'm going to have to change it after 2 tenants or whatever it may be. It's already done, right? Like that moisture barrier, how long would that last? Is it like a 20-year barrier, 30-year barrier? Is it lifetime?
Well, it depends on which moisture barrier that you put on.
Talking the epoxy, like the roll-on application.
Well, there's a lot of different epoxy moisture barriers, right?
Of course
so it depends on which ones you put on. I could roll on a moisture barrier for you for 85 cents a square foot, but it's not going to protect your floor all of the way, and it's kind of like halfway doing it.
Yeah.
The moisture membranes that we put on are more towards the $2 a square foot price range, and it's guaranteed to and warranted the life of your floor.
The good stuff.
Yeah, the good stuff.
So LVP, long story short, pretty much good for the full home besides showers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. And there's a few applications like with roll-in showers and transitioning from LVP to tile that we could dive into with different waterproofing methods.
Yeah,
how far to lap that PVC barrier,
and you don't want to put your LVP outside your house either. I see that happening too.
It's, the entryway is LVP or LVT tiles coming to the house.
Yeah.
That's some landlord stuff right there.
The weather, and that's homeowner do-it-yourself stuff.
Yeah.
And if they're doing it themselves and they're okay with nailing through the plank to their porch floor, and that's okay with them.
They're probably not worried about warranty at that point.
They're probably not. Yeah. However, we get asked to install LVP on exterior patios every year, so we know what we're doing. So we don't do that. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
But
I don't want that risk.
But if you go to another store and you want to buy LVP and you want to install it, even if you're going to install it yourself, they're just going to sell you the floor and let you install it and have it fall apart. Because even if you installed it correctly, which would be a miracle to do it yourself and install it right, the sun and the weather and the change in temperature, it's not going to last enough.
So let's dive into laminate, and I think I know the answer. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Okay. What are your thoughts on laminate, and especially and we're talking 2023, you're remodeling your home, you're building your new forever custom home. Is laminate should that even be an option for homeowners?
Under the present conditions, I don't recommend doing laminate. Even though the industry is producing what they say is moisture-proof laminate, waterproof laminate, most of it is only waterproof from the top down.
I was going to say, is it moisture-proof, waterproof, or water-resistant?
Right.
Because that nomenclature there is just a sales tactic, really.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it really is. And even our good manufacturers that we know have cores that are good and that stay together, some of them are producing some all-around waterproof laminate, not just from the top, but all four sides. However, it hasn't been out very long, and I haven't seen the performance on it. And so there's just no reason, to spend a higher price point or any price point.
Why would you spend, $2-3 more per square foot on something that might last 20 years? When you could just spend the same price for something that will last over 20 years.
Right. Which is the advantage you get when you buy from a flooring store that has 30 years of experience. So
Which is us.
Yeah, which is us.
Awesome. Okay, so laminate, don't do it. All the new buyers out there. Next up, I want to lump in hardwood and engineered hardwood. But with that, there's obviously differences in both of those products. Kind of dive in, because if I'm building a custom home, I'm doing hardwood, right? I'm doing 3/4 inch by 1.25 inches, 2.25, random offset, polished with a clear glossy finish. Like I'm going bougie. Right. What are the benefits of having that floor? Where should we have that floor? Is it strictly going to be for accents or living spaces or a whole home? Kind of dive into that with me.
Right. So first question I would ask you is, what kind of family do you have and what kind of conditions?
I have 3 kids under 5 and I have 3 dogs. I have 6 chickens and 4 cats.
So
I'm a high risk buyer.
You are.
Yeah.
You are. We've installed beautiful, sand and finished custom oak floors with borders and templates and medallions and all of that stuff that couldn't stand up against a couple dogs.
Ouch.
So you can.
I'm not talking Chihuahuas. I'm like it's a black lab and an Anatolian Shepherd.
Yeah. So that floor, while being beautiful, and engineered and real wood floors are my favorite flooring too.
Yeah.
But in my house, I have LVP.
Yeah.
Because I want it to look good for a really long time. And I have dogs too. I have a big German Shepherd that skids across my LVP floor. Hasn't been able to scratch it. He skids.
He's the sliding stop type of dog. Yeah.
And I'll never forget this house in Del Rio. It's a really nice community in Modesto, California. A lot of high-end homes, a lot of hardwood flooring. We sanded and finished a job that was installed previously with all of this amazing work, and it just looked like Freddy Krueger went through the whole house, and their nails went through the finish and gouged the bare wood below. There is a place for hardwood and engineered floors if your life is congruent.
If your lifestyle fits, the finish.
Yeah. I know that, Ryan, that you wouldn't want to spend $40,000 on a floor and 3 years later look like it's 15 years old.
Yeah. But with that, I mean, we could talk about the wear layer, right? Like engineered, like my rule of thumb is you could refinish engineered up to about 3 times, 3 to 5, depending on the wear layer. I could be wrong. I'm going to preface with
engineered usually only gets 1 sand and finish out of an engineered. Okay. The reason being is the difference between engineered flooring and solid oak or solid of any wood species flooring is engineered just has a very thin top layer of real hardwood. Yeah. So if it's maple, if it's acacia, if it's oak, if it's whatever it is, it just has that thin layer. So there's only so much wood that you can sand and finish down.
You can't get down to raw grain again.
No. Yeah. But on a solid wood floor, you can sand and finish that thing for the next 100 years. Yeah. It's the most renewable, resourced floor in the world is real wood. If you have a lifestyle that, again,
I'll wait till the dogs are outside and the kids go to college.
Yeah, I mean, wait till the dogs are outside and the kids go to college. We'll put in a sick herringbone or anything that you want in there. So engineered flooring, hardwood flooring, though, is better over concrete. It's more moisture resistant. Okay. It has layers of plywood that are moisture treated. So as moisture hits the wood.
So is that similar to like a CDX or like an OSB?
Yeah.
It's not particle like a laminate would.
No.
Okay.
No, it's not particle. Although I can't say that because they do. Shaw has real engineered hardwood that has a laminate core that they say is harder than the sheeting of plywood in the stereotypical historically made engineered floors.
I don't know why. Rating. All I'm picturing right now is a new build with engineered hardwood as the shear. I don't know why. I'm like, can I have an engineer write this up for me? Like,
yeah, true hardwood flooring enthusiasts hate the laminate particle board core of engineered wood. The industry swears that it's not cheap and it's not, they swear that it's better, but I don't know if it is. Okay. One really good thing that the industry has come out with, we just did a training in North Carolina, and do you hand scraped engineered wood floors, right? It has the bevels, it has the variances, the knots and different things. Yeah. Well, typically you couldn't sand and refinish that or put a new coat of finish on it without flattening out all of that distressing, all the beautiful, right? All of the characteristics of the floor that caused you to buy it in the first place. Yeah. However, Lobe just came as a German manufacturer of all the premium hardwood floor finishes and also the moisture membrane systems underneath the floor. They came out with a way now that we can what's called screen and coat a engineered floor that's distressed, and it's not by sanding; it's by applying a layer of a product on it that will take an extra coat of finish.
Will erode the top layer off?
No, it won't erode it. It allows, so the way that you typically put a new layer of finish on a hardwood floor when it gets scratched and you need to do a screen and coat every 7 years on a sand and finish hardwood floor. But what you do is you buff that top layer of finish and then you put on another polyurethane finish, right? Or a waterborne finish. Mm-hmm. But now then just Lobe came out with a product that we can apply to the top of the finish, and it will allow the new coat of finish to stick to it.
We really need to incorporate the TV into this podcast.
Yeah.
I need a Jamie, David. I need a Jamie that's just hey, pull this up on YouTube because that's crazy. That'd be cool to see how that works.
It's really amazing. Yeah. It also, we haven't done it yet. It just came out, but according to them, you can also put new finishes on luxury vinyl plank.
No way.
It's dead serious.
That's awesome.
The same coating that you use to put another layer of finish on a hardwood floor, they're saying that we can put that application coating on a luxury vinyl plank and put a new waterborne hardwood finish clear coat on the top of it and revitalize the whole thing.
Okay. That's awesome.
Which is pretty awesome.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
All right. So hardwood, engineered hardwood, if it fits your lifestyle.
Yeah. If it fits your lifestyle, do it. Yeah.
Okay. Now, inside of all these, you talked about some of the accents like medallions. You can do borders. You can do all these things with different hardwood applications. Mm-hmm. There's also in LVP. There's also LVT, luxury vinyl tiles. There's all these other caveats to the category. Aside from that, I mean, I think LVP and hardwood are kind of the leaders of, you know, flooring. Obviously, depending on your lifestyle, depending on what you're going to be doing with the home. When we get into bathrooms, that's kind of where LVT kind of takes place instead of tile, where obviously you can use LVP planks. But tell me a little bit about LVT. Why it's valuable to homeowners.
So the difference between LVP and LVT is the plank versus the tile, right? So
12
LVT
by 12
is,
or 48 by 6.5
or even longer, right? Depending. But the benefits of going with an LVT, which is a tile that looks like ceramic tile, is the labor to install it, for instance, is like $8 a square foot cheaper.
Yeah.
So
on any surface, whether it's because I mean, like if we're doing tile, for example, like my price for raised foundation, you know, I have to thin set that hardy backer down. Then I have to install a hardy backer, screw it down, and then thin set on top of that, and then install the tile. And you have to go outside to cut the tile on the wet saw. And
then once the tile is dry, you have to grout the tile.
You have to grout it.
And then you have to seal the grout. You have to seal the tile, right?
Whereas LVT is just kind of
and then once all of that work on that ceramic tile is done and you've sealed the grout, you're still going to call a company like ours, KHB Carpet Cleaning, Tile Cleaning, out to reapply that grout sealer. It doesn't last forever.
Yeah, it's about every year you want to be
right. Go into your mom's house, look at her tile in her kitchen, look at the grout, and you can see what happens to grout. And that doesn't happen with LVT, right? And it's warranted for a lifetime.
Yeah.
And when you drop something on an LVT tile, it's not going to crack across the tile, causing you to have to replace the tile if you have a tile that matches. God knows
which that's happens. Always an issue when people try to save their floor tile or I always tell them, like, we can do our best, but if they installed this properly, none of this is coming out in a full tile.
People have found when switching over from ceramic tile to LVT tile that it stays looking like the day that you installed it for much longer, for really the life of that floor.
There's a lot of color options, a lot of different styles of it that you can almost get lookalikes to the tile you want.
And if you're curious how it would look in your kitchen, we have a digital optimizer where we can imprint your floor, whatever floor that you're interested in, into your kitchen and see what it looks like against your cabinets and your appliances. So there's a room visualizer. We can take a picture of your room, imprint your floor in there, and you'll have an idea of how it's going to look.
Yeah,
how
that's
cool
great.
Is that?
Similar to like our 3D renderings for full kitchens, bathrooms, full homes.
Yeah. Technology is a real asset to folks. We found even some customers take our picture of once we've imprinted the floor in their tile and send it to their friends and say, "Well, it's done."
That lifelike.
That's awesome. It looks that good. So the advantages again of LVT tile over ceramic tile is price point, longevity. The grout doesn't discolor. It doesn't crack when you drop stuff on it. I mean, if you drop a safe on it, it's going to hurt the LVT.
Yeah, that's why I tell people about warranty all the time. Like, yes, we have a 10-year structural warranty, but if you had one too many beers and drive through the broad side of your home, not covered in the warranty, right? Yeah. Like, you have to still protect the flooring appropriately.
Yeah, it's like if we install a wood staircase for you and you put a 3,000-pound dolly safe on a dolly and you cart it up the staircase.
I feel like that's happened. Did that happen?
Recently.
Real story? Recently? Oh my gosh.
We got called back because a stair nose was separating from the rest of the floor, and they're like, why is a stair nose separating from the rest of the floor? And we go to inspect it, and there's 3 giant chunks missing from the stair nose where they tried carting a 3,000-pound. I'm exaggerating, obviously. The safe, I'm sure, wasn't 3K, but
they need one of those old people, like wheelchairs that is an elevator type thing on the rail.
That's how I got up and down the stairs because I'm not in as good shape.
I can't wait till I'm the age to use that. It's gonna be so fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Well, man, it was great talking to you. Hopefully this is a good value to our customers and potential customers and people all around about what they should be doing, what floor they should install. So thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you, Ryan, for having me.